can introduce us, Michael, if you don't mind.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the God Talk, guys. My name is Michael Mack. This is my friend Michael Koran, leaning out of the screen.
No, that was criticism. That was not just a statement.
This is a harbinger of things to come. So the first thing I'd like to point out, Michael,
Yes?
is that you have food in your beard.
Wow, see? It's not probably not got out either, is it?
This is live TV. Don't forget that.
Hello? Is it better? No. I can see it.
That's
Right?
good. That's
Better?
good. That's good.
I'm going to be self-conscious the whole hour.
Good.
Oh, that's cool.
I want to keep you on
Wow.
your toes.
Wow. And supposedly we're talking about what I want to talk about this half.
We are. We're talking about God. We're talking about faith. We're talking about religion and spirituality,
Yes?
drawing from faith traditions from all over the world.
All over?
All over. As far afield as you want to get.
Gee.
But this is your show. And my show will follow.
Where's the farthest you've gone in the world so far from here?
I'm on point here, trying to finish a sentence. So let me respond in just a moment.
An innocent question. Like, I mean, anybody could. You were talking about the world.
We're head to head.
You asked someone a question.
Mano a mano.
Like, ask them like a very
God Talk guy versus God Talk
very
guy.
human question. Like, where have you traveled? And do you get an answer? No.
Well, this is the Jewish way.
To not answer?
And just so you
Wow.
guys know,
Getting anti-Semitic so early in the show. Oh.
it was Michael Michael is Jewish, and he has taught me the Jewish way. And the Jewish way is to interrupt. So I'm going to be interrupting
Yes.
per his invitation.
Briefly.
He does not want me to harangue.
No.
No harangues.
Wait for his show. The next show you can get a harangue.
If you want the harangue, just wait a little while.
7:30 to 8, promise. Some things we can count on in this very ever-changing world.
Yes. So, is there something? So, are we done with the preliminaries?
Yes.
Can we begin?
Yes, we have begun.
Okay. So, I've got a question for you.
Thank you.
Is there something that you want to tell our audience tonight and me? I mean, I haven't gone away yet. I'm still here.
Yeah,
so if there's
okay.
something you want to tell me or my audience, now is the time to reveal. Now is the time to confess. Now is the time to share.
You had to put confess into that, didn't you? We can't reveal and
It's
share.
where I come from. What can I say?
Oh. Okay, so I bring these up as questions. Last week, for those who remember, 2 weeks ago, that I like to call him Jeshua, his Hebrew name,
Jesus.
if you insist. Do you know that when you pray to Jesus, he was never called Jesus in his whole life? You might be praying to someone who doesn't know you're talking to him.
Well, as a matter of fact, you don't know for sure
I do.
that he was named Jeshua because you weren't there.
Don't be so sure of yourself.
So far as I know. So
Yeah.
far as you know.
Jeshua said, whenever 2 or 3 people are gathered in his name,
Yes.
he's there.
Yeah.
He's there with me and you. Hi, Jeshua. Yes. Oops, I have to be careful not to make light of something that is
Right.
light.
Be careful. You're walking a very narrow line
No,
here.
we're talking about Jeshua is fortunately a loving person. That he could
He
have,
taught love.
that he could have said this boggles my mind. This itself is more of a miracle than any miracles. He said, when he said, look at the sheep and the goats, and he said to separate, dividing them. You know, do you think of yourself as a sheep or a goat?
So sort of like Charlie Brown.
Tell us more.
When the pop fly goes up into the air
Yes.
and he's thinking to himself as it's making its way down the parabola
Yes.
into his waiting glove.
Yes.
He's thinking about, I could be the hero or I could be the goat. And invariably he drops the ball and he is the goat.
Oh my! So do we think of ourselves as heroes or goats? Oh jeez. I'm afraid of that question.
Very good question. I suppose that
Painful question.
we're all on the hero's journey of our own
That's
lives.
very kind. And what do we really think?
What do we really think about what we're doing? Well, depends at what point of the day you ask me, I guess.
But fortunately, I don't know if the goat makes any sounds. Does the goat make any sounds?
That's That's a goat.
That's a goat?
No, wait. That's a sheep.
Yes.
I think goats make the same sound.
No. Is that true? Maybe.
I think so.
Then it's very hard to separate the sheep and the goat if you're blind.
If you're blind and you can't touch
And you
them,
can't
I
touch
suppose,
them.
right.
I
Yeah.
heard that cashmere is made out of goat's fur. If you call it fur. Is that true?
So what are we talking about, Michael? This
What-
is the God Talk, guys.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
not
You see,
This is not
you see,
textiles
you see-
today.
See, we were having fun, and now he's going to bring in God. Oh, we were having so much fun, and well, okay. So, Jeshua, this is the miracle that anyone could think this, because you probably wouldn't think this. He asked people, "Did you visit me when I was in prison?" Right? You know this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see me in the hospital when I was hungry? Did you give me some hummus? I'm freely translating.
I can
from
hear
the-
that,
from the
yes.
When I was thirsty, did you have some purified water?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the Cambridge water, which is good in itself. And they said, we didn't see you hungry and thirsty and in prison and in the hospital. And he said, anytime anybody is there, that's me. That is
Yeah.
a blooming miracle. Who would have thought that?
It was, I think, a revolutionary idea.
What an idea. Which brings me to, so that in itself is amazing.
But that idea, though, is not an uncommon idea among mystics,
It
among
is?
those
That
in
we are
the
everybody?
mystic tradition. Yes. If we go east
I
into the
understand.
Hindu
Yes, but
tradition,
you can feel it.
thou
but
art that.
Yes.
To come to the recognition that that which you see is what you are.
I think you're freely interpreting the mystic tradition, but very nicely, if I do say so.
Oh, do you have a counter?
I don't think in the.
Do you have a counter to my beautiful argument?
I'm just going to let it be, and our very educated audience can look it up. If they say that which you see, you are. I think
Thou
it's-
art that. Thou art that.
I heard the opposite. That we're like an onion. You keep peeling off a layer, and you say, "That's not me," and "That's not me," and so you run out of the onion and get into the empty core, and then you say, "That thou art."
Well, both of these are metaphors for the reality. The reality we can know, the reality of God we can know, hopefully, if we work for it or strive for it, or sometimes am simply graced with it. And I know that there is an end to this sentence. I just can't remember what it was.
Right. Some people would have just stopped without saying that last part. Some people.
That would have been the elegant way to exit the sentence. Yes,
some
I agree.
people would, but not everybody, obviously. So, I mean, to say that I don't think they do it in the East. You can identify with everyone, but to say that if you visit that person in prison, you're visiting me, that is extraordinary. And
What's extraordinary about it, but
feel
again,
that.
is not limited to the teachings of Jesus. I think that
Yes.
it was revolutionary in its time. But what's extraordinary about that is that recognition that I believe that we all had as infants before we came into
Oh, that
we
we were-
when we
we
came
did,
to
yeah.
discover ourselves as separate. When we exited the Garden of Eden, roughly around the age of 2, when we came to recognize that the face of our mother that we were looking at, gazing upon,
Oh,
recognizing that we're in fact separate from that. We thought we were part of that we were one with that.
how frightening for some of
But
us.
we separate and realize, oh, I can say no. I can say hell no.
Yes. And we've been maybe doing.
We've been saying hell no ever
Yes, he
since.
took the words out of my mouth. Okay, anyway, so, and when Joshua says this, he's not just talking about us individually, he's talking about nations. Which is scary.
I think he was speaking from the point of view of cosmic consciousness.
But he was saying nations will come before me, not individuals. Nations will be divided according to the sheep and the goats, not just you and I.
Man, your references I would need to see.
We read it out loud last week, 2 weeks ago, but we can do
Last week, 2 weeks ago?
Well, I was saying last week.
I just need to make sure that you're precise in what you're
Thank you,
saying.
but that's because
Because that's the kind of God Talk guys we are.
Yes,
We don't
you
just
are.
throw around a bunch of ideas like we know what we're talking
You are,
about.
You. Okay, so now, in light of that Joshua said that I am in prison and in a hospital, and I'm hungry and thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
And probably also he could have, if he was in a better mood, he could have said, I am also, which he does, celebrating at weddings, which he did. And everybody who celebrates at weddings, that's me too.
He was taken to task for all those celebrations. He enjoyed.
Oh yes, they said,
He enjoyed a good party.
How come you're not fasting like John the
Yeah,
Baptist? Yes.
yeah.
Well, look what happened.
You and your disciples don't even wash your hands before eating.
Jeez. That would be hard for me. Anyway, now I think I was telling you. Oh yes, I did this part. I didn't tell you. So I'm sitting alone in my room. This yesterday, and I'm often lonely because
Yesterday, okay.
my sweetheart has left, and then I can feel your presence. I used to.
Do you really?
Yes, I could feel your and other people that I met for the day or other friends from far. I used to have trouble, like seeing you when you weren't around. You know, I could say Michael Mack and not have really great trouble seeing your face and your body. I'm getting better at it at least. And so what I used to think when I was lonely and sometimes being blessed and feeling a presence, now it's the people that I know and my friends, finally, that have taken off, you know, they say the Kabbalah takes off 365 shells around your true identity. And my friend Wendy said only 365. So now that, you know, I'm getting to this advanced age, I'm going to be 73 if you can believe it. March 1st.
Hard to believe, Michael.
Yes, hard to believe, but you can feel it in my bones.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I feel it when I feel your presence.
Yeah,
I feel your bones in my bones, and I'm thinking, oh, pretty creepy.
Oh. So people. This is the question. Fortunately, you're very precise. So what's the difference between? There's a big difference for me between feeling this presence of God or some grace and feeling you and my beloved friend Michelle and other people present in my room when I'm alone. And it feels so much better, actually.
So, what do you want from me?
Now,
Do you want my blessing?
I always like your blessing, sure. Thank you. Oh, well, it's a very straight, it's a very Christian blessing, yes. But thank you. I'm very touched by it because you did that. So there's a big difference between feeling the presence of God or even Jeshua and feeling my friends. Now, according to the Jesuits...
Can I ask you about that?
Yes,
When you talk about the presence of God, when you talk about experiencing or feeling the presence of God, can you say a little bit more about what that is or what that means or how that feels or how do you perceive it?
As usual, I fortunately have these flashbacks that come to me as you get older. There's something you can look forward to when you get to be in this.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Here we go.
So I'm sitting with my friends Chuck and Lonnie, the University of Chicago at a cafe, and I'm feeling this presence. Wow, it's so beautiful. But this is now coming as a flashback, and it says, "You fool! That's because Chuck and Lonnie loved you, and they were accepting you, and you took that and turned it into, oh, thank you, God." So I was missing them. The feeling was so new to me to feel loved that I was missing appreciating, honoring, being in awe if I could take it. Rather than thinking, oh God, I'm feeling God. I'm such a great person. God is shining His presence upon me.
I should say it's not about being a great person to be in the presence of God.
This is your Catholic.
No, this is my experience, and this is why I'm drawn to Catholicism.
Yes.
Because Catholicism represents, in a lot of ways, not always, but in a lot of ways, my own experience. So it's like the language is my own language.
But some people get full of themselves when they feel the presence of God.
It's easy to do.
Yes, especially if you feel very unworthy, and then all of a sudden you feel God has chosen you. Wow. And
you know what?
Yeah. And people do that.
I've been there too, man.
People do that.
Yeah.
People fight with the glory of God on their side.
Yeah.
We're better in your word. That's the whole horror of religion. We've just summed it up in a little few sentences, in case you missed it.
I would say yes, that is the horror of religion. It's also the horror of nations. That you identify a particular group or a particular
Yes.
a particular anything
We're
as
better.
being the ultimate,
We're
and
better.
we've got it and you don't.
God bless. But if NASA is listening, which I hope they are,
NASA, NSA,
NSA, yes,
Yeah.
I hope they're listening.
they are listening.
Thank goodness. A brief moment. God bless America. May you. Oh,
I'll watch you
oh. Okay.
disintegrate before my eyes.
Thank God. Wouldn't it be an insult if they were not listening to this show?
They're listening to everybody else, but you know what? We've only got so much bandwidth, and we can't afford.
We can't afford to be live at 7. So anyway,
So we have. Let's not forget our audience.
we
Our
know-
audience.
Yes.
All 7 or 8,
No,
or
this is-
maybe I'm over.
This is streamed around the world live now.
Oh, okay.
This week, hi Tibet.
What's that?
Tibet, people could be watching
Okay,
this.
this second.
Yes, this right now. He's
Okay.
impressed.
Welcome.
See, he thought it was just you. He thought it was just you, Gail and Jeff.
Kathy.
Yes.
yeah.
No, it's around the world.
Okay.
You can see the difference. Look at them. This is a performer at heart. But yeah, you've changed.
I had a big
You've
point to
changed
make.
right in front of our eyes.
What was that
You don't
point?
even need to now that everybody's watching.
It was it was this. So we have an audience.
Yes.
And our audience tunes in, hopefully, for more than just guffaws and hoots and hollers.
I was talking about something deep. Jesus is and Jeshua's in everybody. And that's the hard question. So that I don't want to let my feeling for God take me away from feeling the awe for you and the appreciation for you.
But the awe for me and the appreciation for me is not apart from the awe and appreciation.
Okay, that's
from God.
because that's what Jeshua said. I am in prison. I am in the hospital.
Yeah.
I am at the wedding.
That was speaking from the point of view of cosmic consciousness, where we recognize
'Cause
our connection to
we're
everything.
all avatars of the universe.
I think that the
That's
Course in
awesome.
Miracles would be the first to agree.
Oh, so we solved that. So that's wonderful.
Done. We can end the show.
Yes, see, it wasn't frivolous. It wasn't. It seemed like it was guffaws, and it was really profound guffaws.
And now that we've reached that level of profundity and we have solved the great question,
Yes.
we can move on to guffaws and comic
We
interludes.
might have other things
And
to talk. No, so that means feeling that for ourselves as much as we can, right? That's the important part for ourselves and those people around us who we might even get angry at, to really communicate to them and to ourselves that we are, whatever word you want, divine, humans, whatever, that we're beyond wonderful, we're mysterious.
I'm not only not arguing with you, I'm supporting you in what you're saying.
Oh, good.
You're looking at me as though I'm about to offer some big counter argument.
No. Yeah, that's not. No, I'm looking for you for only appreciation and admiration. And
That's all that I have for you, Michael.
Yeah.
That's all of it.
well, and he's touching me in the back. This is very nice. I hope this isn't banned in Boston. Okay, so, well, that was the heart of it.
So sum up in a sentence
I just
what
did
you're
that-
trying to
that
say.
we're all messengers of God.
Yep.
And you don't even need the word God, and God certainly doesn't need. The last thing God needs is, in some ways, praise. We need it.
Sometimes the word can get in the way of the truth.
Yes, right. Okay, so that's very beautiful.
And in less than 6 words, I think.
Sometimes,
It was an
I
interruption,
think it's
and
more
a
than-
beautiful
I think it's more than
interruption.
6 words. Sometimes words can get in the way of truth. Is 9 words.
Okay. I failed again.
Watch it carefully.
Failed.
Folks. That was a huge percentage difference from 6 to 9. It's like 50% difference.
So we're about 20 minutes in.
I can feel this is not going to be awe and appreciation.
We're 20 minutes
Yeah,
in. I just feel like I need to do a little recap
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so that we can end the show in about 10 minutes, so that we can end
7.
with a point.
7. We had a point that
And what's-
we're all messengers
Yes?
And we're all awesome, and we're all beautiful. And
Okay, question for you.
Yes.
A question that I wrestle with.
Yes.
When we are all messengers.
Yes.
The Hitler question. What do you do with Hitler?
You kill him like Bonhoeffer tried to. Any other questions? Bonhoeffer came from...
Okay.
Did you know the story?
It's a great story about a great
pain.
man.
And you know it?
I know the gloss. Do you want to give us the details?
He's living in America. He decides to go back to Germany
Oh, yeah.
to kill Hitler.
I'm not sure if he decided to go back to Germany in order to kill Hitler,
But,
or he felt just he needed to get back
Yes,
into Germany during World War II.
I think you're right. And then he decided to try to kill Hitler.
Well, it was more like there were a number of people around him that were asking the
Yeah,
question.
yes.
And he asked the question to himself.
Yes.
Can I, as a clergy person, say yes? Can I sign off
Wow.
on assassination? And after wrestling with it, praying over it,
Yep.
consulting, he came to the conclusion that yes, he could sign off on assassination.
And then joined into the conspiracy.
Yeah, in some
Hard
way
enough
I
that
don't-
when he was in concentration camp and when he was about to die, finally discovered that Bonhoeffer was part of the plot to kill Hitler, have him killed in ways I won't even say on the show. But
I'm not sure about that.
I am
I
sure
thought he
about
was
that.
hung.
Yeah, he was hung by piano wire.
Well, that's quick.
Hitler wanted it. I think piano wire is not quick. I think.
Well, okay. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
So that's what you do. You have to sometimes kill people, as our dear beloved president does, killing.
Here's what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
As best I can tell, that with humility and with the support and help of the people around us that we recognize as good, that we look within ourselves and try to find the answer to, you know what, I'm falling apart, even as I'm trying to finish
I have
this
another
sentence.
example because we still have 4 more minutes.
Okay.
This is a hard one.
This made this, what, the Hitler question is a
No,
hard
Hitler
one?
one we took care of. We're killing him. We kill him.
Okay, so the question really is a much more global question. What are we to do?
Well, I'm going to give you a tiny little story. When I first
It's gotta be
found
tiny.
God. No, I have 4 minutes.
But that doesn't include my interruptions.
Well, I have 1 second. So I'm at the University of Chicago. I have the courage to ask out Gracia Faye Bauman, who's a divinity student.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just way more scared than I even would possibly dream. And I hear a voice saying, well, she invites me to her house. I'm sitting on her couch. And the voice says, hold her hand, punk.
Hold her hand, punk.
Yes. And so it gives me some confidence to hold her hand. A little bit. I'm listening to some voice telling me. I talked to a friend of mine who's studying to be a priest, and he says, that could be God talking to you. And the next time I'm out with her, I hear, hold her hand, punk. And I think God is talking to me, and I with more confidence hold her hand. It took me a long time, like maybe this week, to discover that there's something in me that's a wish, even a need. And since I'm a man, I thought, and can't have wishes and needs since they weren't too satisfied when I was growing up. I can't just say I need to hold your hand. I'd like to hold your hand. I'd love to. I want to. I wish to. I have to have the only thing that can, because I'm too scared. I have to have God tell me to hold your hand. And so I think lots of the stuff that I think was coming toward me as commands are really hidden wishes that I need to honor and of course the wish itself is part of the
I understand
part
that.
of the life force.
I understand.
And I can honor the wish and desire and say I have that deep life in me too. I don't maybe not want to call it God. It's because it's me. It's my desires.
Well, back in the old days, we called it God. Now, in the scientific age, we're much more
My
likely to call
desires.
it. We're call it. We'll call it. I don't know what the term would be in psychology or psychiatry, but there's a term for
Yes,
it.
or a,
So it's all about perspective.
And so Bergson, a Jewish philosopher, actually who wanted to convert to Catholicism on his deathbed, called it the élan, because he's French, the élan vital.
I don't know what that means.
Élan, vital means kind of vital force, and élan is kind of
Like chi.
graceful, because it's French, the graceful,
So the
life
graceful
force.
chi. Graceful chi.
Yes, something like that. And so that's what, but it also, as Freud would say, it's really my desire and my need, and to honor that is way, way different psychologically than thinking God is telling me to hold your hand. I want to, which is much nicer in some ways.
It
I
really
need
all
to.
boils down to this question.
Yes.
The question is, what on God's green earth is going on? What is going on?
In the show.
And no,
Oh,
well,
nice.
yes, in the show,
Oh.
but also in this philosophical and religious question. Philosophical, religious, and scientific question. I mean, it really boils down to the question, what is going on?
And we might possibly not need the word God. We might have to wait for 2 weeks. We're going to be back together.
We might wait, actually,
3 weeks.
no,
4 weeks.
4 minutes, because we're going to be on with
Oh,
another...
and you might, but it's his agenda, guys. It's going to be amazing. You think this has been great. Wait till you see the next thing.
Just wait.
Yes. And on that happy note, thank you for joining us, and hopefully
Thank you for
we'll
joining the
see
God
you-
Talk, guys.
See you in 3 minutes. Yes.
3 minutes.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Bye. Love you. Blessings.